Hello from Paris. Week 4. I think it's week 4.
Week.
This
Almost.
is Terry.
Hi.
We'll get to Terry in a minute.
I'll just go off the screen.
So anyway, during my pastry and baking intensive in Anzac, France, which was, a couple of weeks ago, seems like forever already, I watched birds. Well, I didn't exactly watch birds while I was baking, but I watched birds before I was baking.
Or you would have burned yourself.
Who knows what I would have done?
Cut off your fingers.
Left it in the oven for 2 hours. The most likely scenario. Anyway, that's what timers are for. As in, I wandered around the huge backyard of my Airbnb owner, gazing upward, getting my feet all wet, getting them all full of grass, which, much to the consternation of the Airbnb owner, who didn't like it when I tracked it in on the floor of the breakfast room. But she was extremely sweet. She really was. Anyway, because I could hear dozens of kinds of birds in her backyard, but seeing them was like practically impossible. And I really, really wanted to see them. And I figured she thought I was like one batty American if she saw me, but I didn't care because I was feeling wonder at all of those birds in the yard. And that's kind of new to me because I don't know European birds, so they're all new except for like from playing Wingspan. I know European birds from Wingspan and pigeons and house sparrows. When I got to my class, I mentioned that to a couple of Australian women that I hit it off with in the course of conversation, that I think I'm reclaiming my childhood by staring at birds and trees and skies and making delicious things in this class. And I think maybe I told them that was all buried and I'm excavating it again. I'm staring and I'm daydreaming and I'm not caring what anyone, especially the Airbnb owner, thinks. And I assure you that was well taken out of me in my childhood. And they, like the amazing women they were, cheered me on. Well, the other day, my dear friend Terri, you can come back on screen now, asked me a question.
I did. What was something that was you had to leave behind in your childhood, or something like that?
Yeah, a question you got from class or from where?
I got it from a book by Martin Shaw, and it's called, I can't remember the name of it. It's something about courting your wild twin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about how at certain times of your life, especially in childhood, there's a part of you that usually you have to disconnect from for some reason, whether it's safety or it's just parenting styles or things like that. So that's what prompted the question.
And that really tracked with me with what I was experiencing and thinking at NonSex, is that when she asked me that question, I said, that's easy because I figured it out a week or two ago. I gave up wonder. I'm showing you some of the wonderful pictures of birds I've taken in the last couple of weeks in Paris.
It's a blue heron.
It's a gray heron.
Gray heron, because blue herons, they're not blue, they're gray. I don't know, something confusing like that.
Like my personality, yes, it is very practical. I am an Enneagram 5 after all, but I gave up a large bit of cloud gazing, and I was that little girl with my nose in a book and my head in the clouds. And I was told by my family more times than I can recall that I had a head full of book knowledge and no common sense. And that daydreaming was a waste of my time. But turns out it really wasn't. Here's some more cool bird.
Oh, that was fun.
Baby kestrels.
Kestrels.
Yes.
I had a dream about them the other night.
Daydreaming is not a waste of time. Daydreaming fuels imagination and innovation, and wonder is the life force of falling in love again and again and again with the same place and the same people and the same life. Like, how do you even exist without, I don't know. But without wonder, I think we grow rigid and we grow siloed. In our communities, our churches, we don't daydream, do we?
Mm-mm.
Do you daydream in church?
No.
I mean, that didn't come
Well-
out. That is not the right way to phrase
Yeah.
that question.
I don't know. It depends on the sermon or the pastor or the preaching. All right.
Yeah,
But we don't have an expansive imagination
we don't.
in church
We don't.
or outside of church often.
Yeah. I mean, we don't wonder. We don't ask questions. We don't explore. We've been told it's not a practical life skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we look around, we can see that we're suffering for that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know our history. That's bad right now. We don't know how to think critically.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching the last few weeks on the Paris metro, and I know same is true at home, that people sit on the metro and they stare at their phones and they miss all of this fascinating humanity around them. And I couldn't stare at my phone for the first couple of weeks because I couldn't make the Wi-Fi work outside my apartment at my school. So I couldn't do it. And I got to look at all of the incredible people around me on the metro and how different they are and how interesting lives they must have because of human beings. And everyone else is just sitting there like this. Like they don't look, they don't wonder. And that you miss the opportunity to fall in love with humanity again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to fall in love with humanity again.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's not working out very well. And, when I was in seminary, I was taught a business model for church. Like that was the 90s. That was the thing. Church should be run as a business. We're seeing how well that worked out. And it wasn't well.
Yeah, hasn't panned out so well.
It hasn't. I wonder what would happen if we used a wonder model instead of a business model. That was my next question to you.
Oh.
I told her to interrupt me at will.
You gave me too many questions.
Told her to interrupt me at will, and she hasn't, except just to heckle me. I don't know.
Me heckle you?
I don't know. What do you see as the connection between wonder and learning and the church?
Oh gosh. Well, I think some of it has to do with curiosity. Now I'm hungry for those baked goods.
I made those people. I made those. Okay, moving on. Continue. Oh, Terri made some too.
Yes, I did. Let's see. I think without curiosity and wonder, we don't think about what's being taught because, well, that's also critical thinking. But we lose our joy in learning without wonder and curiosity. And I mean, people don't really read the Bible because they're like, it's not that interesting. People that do read it often are ones that seem to have more delight in the story of God and humanity.
Yeah. And sometimes the people who don't read it just think they know what it says.
They remember certain verses that were sold on a plaque somewhere. I don't know.
And what if you looked at it with wonder? Like, I wonder, like you are so good at that. Like Terri is like the most best. That's not a what an English teacher should say. Person at asking I wonder questions that I know. So what if we went to scripture like that? I wonder what this was like. I wonder how this person felt. I wonder what their culture was actually like instead of what I imagine it's like. But anyway,
right.
We learned in French class last week, we learned this phrase, je suis tombée amoureuse avec. I am falling in love with. And I wonder what if we did, again, fall in love with things because we wondered. My words for 2025 are take up space. And this sabbatical, I'm doing that. First of all, I'm doing that by not giving anybody ground on the sidewalk, but that's beside.
You're good at that. You are so good at that.
I got a disability, Kate. If you walk right at me, I am not moving.
No,
that's another story.
Unless it's a baby in a stroller.
Unless it's a more disabled person or a baby in a stroller. But the sabbatical, I'm doing that by bird watching and cloud gazing and wondering at the texture of French buttercream and the taste of fresh strawberries, which there are a lot of in France, and retaking what was taken from me, what I gave up
Right.
in childhood.
Because we need to realize that's our responsibility. It's like if we lost certain things, whether it's security or safety or the chance to sit and wonder or to think, and I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know where I went with the picture. There it is.
Oh my gosh. We're back at the
There's an Eiffel Tower coming out of our heads.
I can't remember what I was saying.
It's our responsibility to
okay,
recapture
thank you.
what we gave up.
If I could remember that. We don't get it out really of saying, well, I lost that. But because as an adult, you have the chance and the responsibility to yourself and to others to find that again. Traveling, I think, is one opportunity for that, because you see things you don't recognize or that are beautiful. I think beauty really nourishes that in me.
Yeah, me too. For me, yeah, those repeated words from my childhood, which were not true. I'm trying to retake that. I'm trying to re-find that little girl and fall in love with her again. And I wonder in our churches and our communities if we can do that with each other, if we can stop and look around and ask questions and wonder together, do things that might get messy and might not appear practical, and fall in love with each other again.
Yeah, and I think one thing, when Collier has a phrase, I think it was a book of his called Holy Curiosity. And I've often prayed for that, and just I've talked to my husband about it, of just because he's not somebody who sits and wonders things, and I'm like, why aren't you wondering? But I think some of it's his background, but also his personality and stress level. But I think that would be a great thing for people in churches to pray for, is to give us a holy curiosity about each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I like that.
And then you can say, what was this like for you? Like we went to lunch today with two people from Paris
that we didn't know.
We didn't know, and we're introverts, but we can be brave. And Jill, you met him through Threads?
Yeah. Social media.
Yeah. And so we went out to lunch together, which was really fun. And just to wonder, like, what they're from Minnesota, I think both of them. Or Minnesota,
he was
Wisconsin?
for sure. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure what. I think she said Wisconsin, but I'm not positive.
Midwest. And just thought, I asked, I think it was along the lines of, what gifts have you received from living in Paris? Like, what things, which is, I mean, people, it's so good to hear other people's experiences and share that, because it gives us an opportunity to grow, but it also gives us a chance to just learn more about other people. Yeah. It's how we love others well.
Yeah. So, in closing, I just want to say my family was wrong. First, because, hey, I have plenty of common sense.
Your family now or your family before?
My family before.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
My family now is on a case-by-case basis. I'm living in 3 foreign countries just fine this summer, so I have plenty of common sense.
Yes.
But more importantly, they were wrong because wonder is incredibly valuable, and I don't think we can move together forward without it. And I'm going to leave you with this train window that I took a picture of, like right after that baking intensive. Even the French people are saying, you have permission to daydream.
I love that.
See you later next time.
Thank
A
you.
bientôt.
A bientôt.